All right, so you're welcome to this week of the Python class, and I believe you've been gaining a lot of things right from the beginning. Um, it's quite impressive that today we'll be drawing the curtain on the SQL class because what we'll be doing will blow your mind this evening, and that is what you possibly will meet at the workplaces. I don't know, maybe at the initial stage of SQL, I had I had told you of a friend who landed a role, and his primary tool was SQL because he will be querying databases. And he called me, he said, "Guy, I know you're very good at these things. Please, I'll come over to your place and we'll just run it through the weekend." So I didn't see him the first weekend, I didn't see him the second weekend, I didn't see him the third weekend. I just called to check on him, that guy, how about this your new role that you landed? And he told me, oh, there won't be any need for a SQL class because there is a repository of queries that he needs for his daily activities. So all you need to do is just to call those queries, and the whatsoever report of um, data he needs will just be generated by that. And that's what we'll be going through today. And just like Doctor said, it is not to make you lazy and think it's all bed of roses. But imagine, and I think I've mentioned it before here, maybe in the early days, how will you think that you imagine yourself as the chief data officer of a bank, one of the big banks in Nigeria, and you hire an intern to query your database, and this intern goes in there, run a query, and the query deletes every entry in the database, customer balance, customer information. How will you feel? Before anybody sacks you, you possibly, I mean, God forbid anybody think of taking his or her life. So to avoid that, there is something that organization put in place, and that's um, the procedure. So there are stored procedures in SQL. Please permit my background noise. I'm still in the office. All right, so um, we'll be talking about stored procedure in SQL. So you want to imagine how you'll be able to perform your tasks without having to write any code. And you now be wondering, why then did we take you through it? So we took you through how to write the codes because we believe you need them, right? But I'm now still telling you, you will rise to be big in your role someday, and that's our expectation. But when you become big, so how do you then implement some of these things? So, and that's why this is very important that we share with you. And as you go on in the ladder, you want to protect yourself from intent, not because they are not good, but you don't want them to make any costly mistake. And that's why we have these stored procedures in SQL. So the stored procedure, I believe you can see my screen. I'm sharing already. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Okay, so these stored procedures are reusable code block. So what they do, like I said, they enhance performance. So why do they enhance performance? Because this code blocks has actually been thoroughly thought out. They've actually, um, professionals, so to say, maybe um, leadership or senior data engineers have taught them out, and they've put them together. They've created view where they have to create view. They've created some very nice CTEs where they've optimized the code, so to say, and they have now stored them. So it enhanced security. And I mentioned about the scenario I created of the database of one of the big banks in Nigeria, An intern just goes in there, just run a code on that database, and everything is gone. So people don't even know their balance, and if they don't have any backup, and even if they do have backup, likelihood of them missing the transaction that happened between the last time it backed up and now. So that you want to consider. So I mean, security is all that this is for me. Apart from the fact that it enhances performance, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So security, one of the reason I love this is for security, and also the maintainability of the SQL database. So um, SQL-based application. So you think of, if everybody is not just writing what comes to their mind, you, you can see that we've gone a step further to actually maintain um, the application. So, and how does this happen? So it encapsulates a what's it called complex logic, like, and I will demonstrate that in a bit. And some of the queries we've written in the past, we'll just use that to demonstrate it. All right. And it promotes modulability and reusability. So it's one of the things they promote for me. I mean, things I love about this is the security and the reusability. So, and both of them, they lean on each other, because I want it to be reusable, and that's why I believe I'm secure by it, because nobody will just call what is not. And just by the way of definition, a store procedure is a group of SQL statements stored and executed on the database server. So encapsulation, store procedure encapsulate logic for data operation, allowing for usability across application. And the basic purpose of it is actually to store procedures, simplified complex operation, enforce business rules, and optimize performance. All right. So this is the syntax. So it is just like the code we've always written. The only thing we'll just introduce are the delimiter, and also we use the keyword, create procedure, and then we start the procedure. In between the start and the end, we have our SQL statements that we want to store, and then we execute. But when we store this, this is the procedure for storing, but we need, whenever we now need to use it, so there is a syntax that we use in calling it. That's the executing. That's what we use in executing the stored procedure. So that the call command. So the call command is used to now more like recall. So we have stored something. Um, some of us who were very good at using even the adding machine, that's the common calculator, the adding machine. So we have that MR, MC, MS on those adding machine. So could I just pull up a calculator? Yeah, yeah. So um, all right. Oh, you can see my screen entirely. All right. So let me just stop sharing. So some of these things they've always been around us, only that we've not been paying attention to them. Okay. Because as simple as this adding machine is, so this is an adding machine. I mean, a calculator just to add things. Remember, so have you wondered what this RC is? MC, MR, M plus, M minus, MS. So these are functionality that just play similar role to what I'm explaining. So if I perform a task now, say for instance, this times this, which is 5 times this, which is 30, I can then MS store it. So I can store it, or I can add this to memory. So I've added it to memory. So if I want to perform another task, I can say this. Let's assume I want to add what I've done to it. I can just go and record. So I can just say 8 plus, then I recall memory and 30 comes up and I say equals to. So basically that is how it works. All right. So going back to our presentation. All right. So um you you see a case like this where we have we don't want to recall. So, but instead of using the word recall, we just say call. So that is, we just want to call it from where it is and remembering the biblical um, verse. I mean, that comes to mind saying calling for things that are not as though they were. But in this case, it is things that you have stored that you have calling for and they come forth. So you just call them and they come forth. And whatsoever um, has been stored in this, that is the SQL statement that is contained in this particular line, that is between the beginning and the end. Then once you call once you call this stored procedure, it brings out the operation for you. And the importance of it, just as we've seen earlier, and some of the flow. So how it works how it actually work in sequence. So error handling, because you might run into some errors. You want to know how to handle such errors. So um, you know, it's good that you actually encounter error at the point of storing than you encounter error while calling. So that one is a very big one, because of um, at the point of storing it, you have not performed anything. But by the time you are calling it, you're performing tasks. So you just want to be careful. So, and these are several use cases that we can have them. Like I said, you can use them for data validation, batch processing, reporting. I mean, very important for reporting, because if it's a report you generate every day, every week, instead of writing the code every day, every week, all you need to do is just to store a process, a procedure for it. And each time anybody wants to run that particular code, particular particular report, they just call that what it has been named. Okay, so at this point, we just move over to our SQL workbench, so that will be exemplified in what we have written before. So this particular code, this particular code was written to answer one of our questions. Okay, um, this was written to answer one of our questions, maybe the first one. Okay, wait just a minute now. Okay, let me bring up this question. So the question that I think this was speaking to, what do we have? We have sum of purchases, that's total purchases. Okay, I think it is the question one. That is, a sales manager wants you to identify the top 5 customer who have made the highest total payments. Yeah, highest total payment. So we want to get the top 5 who has made the highest total payment, and that was what we did here. We want to know the top 5 customer that has made the highest total payment. So this is the customer name, and then we have um, the total payment, and then that's the sum of all payments this customer has made. And to achieve this, we did the now join between. We joined the tables. Um, There's customer table and payment table, and that got us, because we're looking for the top 5. We had already grouped by total payment, and then we have made it in descending order. That is the biggest at the top, and then we have limited to 5 because we are looking for the top 5. Okay, so this report, we need to run it every week or every month. Maybe we have a loyalty program where we award our top customers every month. So we want to know who are the top for this month. So and so we already run this. So this will run, because I want to believe we didn't have any issue with it. So this is our top customer name. So this hero shipping channel, mini gift distribution, and this are their contributions. So this is the biggest guy. So now, so this is the biggest guy, and so now we want to store this particular code because we don't want to always have to run them every month. We don't want to always have to run them every month. So what we'll do is just to simply do what I have here, just like you saw in the demonstration. So so all right. So we have the delimiter here, and we are coupling it with this two forward slash. So mind the forward slash. So that's the delimiter we have because this is to show that um, what we are writing is completed because we encapsulate it between these two, the delimiter. And like I said, we use the keyword create procedure. Um, and by the time we say create procedure, we name what the procedure is. So whatsoever we name this procedure is what we use in calling it eventually. So and mind you, this ends here. So I just have to put them together so that by the time we want to run. So this from the delimiter at the top to the delimiter below, that's where the um the the storage that's the query for storing it, this procedure ends. So now look at what we have in this particular first slide. Okay, so we have um, just the same thing like I've explained the code, and that's the same thing we have here. We have the customer name, we have the total payments, and we join these two tables. The same thing, just copy and then paste between this. So what you have to do is to name it what you want to call it by. So I named it this. So but I will have to rename it now because I think I've run this before. If I try running it again, I might have an error. Okay, all right. So I want to show this, right? So then all you need to do is having written this, then you just run. So by the time I run this, so now this has been stored. So I have successfully created a I've actually stored this procedure because I've created procedure and I've named it get top customer by payment. Okay, and I do know that it is top five customer by payment that I want because what my code already reads. So now because I've stored it, so I can go anywhere, okay, anywhere and call this. But let me call this from here first, and then I can go call it from anywhere as well. So if I should call this here, compared to what I have in this place, so you could see that it's the same thing. So you could think, oh, because I called it where I created it, so I can copy this and bring it into this place. All right, I can just paste it here and then run it. So I will get the same thing. I can go and run it anywhere. I will continue to get this result or as updated in the database. As transactions are going, if this had to change, it will change based on the new transaction that has happened. This is how simple um, how you store a procedure is. It is as simple as this. So somebody could be asking that which is more difficult. The most difficult part is actually to get what goes between the begin and the end, because this is where you will have done the most of your work. And why you're doing this is because you don't want people to think about it again. You don't want them to think about it again. So just consider this like your Google, where solution of previous experiments are contained. So it's just like a repository. So now they've done those experiments, say in the US, and you are here in anywhere you were in the world, and you think, oh, I'm looking for this particular thing, and you go to Google and you just search, blah, 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 and you get the result of whatsoever they have done. So And it is easier for you to search. Yeah, searching is also a job, but it will be easier for you to search it out than for those people that did it then to do it. So that's how simple creating a procedure is. So the work that it require is actually to write a working code, right? So we could demonstrate again with some. I think I did have one year as well. So this same, I mean, another example, I think this is the second question, if I get it right. Um, okay, other report. So, okay, so, yeah, this is the second question. The finance team needs a report of all order along with their respective customer contact details. So, so we have this. So if we should run this, if we should run this, it will give us all the order. So the order number, order date, order status, and then we want to get their respective contact person. So contact first name, contact last name, and the contact phone number. So we have this. So we don't want anybody to think about this, how to write this code again, because we love it. Maybe the head of finance, the chief finance officer, the CFO loves this format. He said, "This is what I want to see," and we don't want any, because the same question could be asked to another person, and then he puts status before this, he puts this before that. We don't want people to think about it again. We have we have written this, and we know that this is something that we want to be reusable, but we don't want people to be at liberty to just get to be writing it themselves. So we can actually come here, our delimiter spelled at the top, our keyword, create procedure, and then we give it a name, create other details. So let me remove this S so that I can run it again. I've run it before, so that's why I'm removing that X, because it's something that is stored. So it is stored in the database. So it will just create a virtual space for itself, and it will be there. So like I said, all that we did is just what we have here. Okay, it's similar to what we have here. So these, and from order, and then inner join customer, because we're joining this to table, and then we've declared what we're joining on. And so that's what we have here. So we just put them between the begin and end, then so we can run this. Okay, so quickly I'll run this. All right, so it runs, and then I can now call it. Okay, remember this, what I did here was just to store this procedure, and then now I want to use it for a project. I can now say, okay, let me call it. Okay, it could be maybe after 10 weeks or after a month. I had stored it, and a new joinee just come. So this is what we now have in our repository. So we might now create a file, maybe an Excel file or a Word document file, where we now store all of this, but we'll give a narration of what they do. So like this now, I'll copy it and I'll write in front of it. This is for so so so. This is for getting um, other um, and the contact person attached to them. So let me run this, and it will give me the same thing as what I have here. All right. So it will give me the same as what I have here. Okay. Okay. All right. So uh, that is how. Yeah. Let's go to more complex. Do we have any complex one? I did some towards the end as well. So those are some of our recent questions. Um, all right. So yeah, I performed it on which one? Okay, this. All right, so these have about three inner joins. So we joins about four tables, One, two, three, four. So we join four tables here. Pretty much the same, even if we have to join five tables. Okay. Um, okay. Yeah, this. So what you do, just the same way it is, copy between create and end. And so I want someone to try one of the questions. It could be anyone on the screen. I just want you to try it out and you see it works on your end. So pretty much how it is. Anyone there? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And or did we even, let me start with, did we understand how to make this work? Okay, 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 okay. Um, Let me talk about this. I think I missed that out. Maybe because the indentation is very important. So the indentation is very important. So if you do this, you're looking for trouble. Okay. Um, the indentation is very important. So between the begin and the end, make sure all the SQL statement that you're writing are in indented mode. And these are some of the things that create problem. Yeah. So, but every other thing, the delimiter, um, the create procedure, the begin, the end, delimiter, they are all on the same line. But the SQL statement that you want to store should be indented. So that's another thing we'll pay attention to, because someone may be trying all of them on the same um, line, and you think, and even the begin should give you that auto indentation. Sometimes it does. I just tried now, it doesn't. Maybe because I've written something in there. All right, so pretty much this is it. And going over to you now to say, anyone there who wants to try. And first, even before trying, did we understand this? I think I portray it as being the simplest of all things, and I want to believe it is. Only that before you get there, you need to have your code ready. And good news for almost all of you here that you might find a role that all you'll be doing is just to call. Well, you might be pulled into some meeting where you actually think about, okay, how do we get this done? What is the most optimal query to write for this? Or they ask everybody, submit your query to get this done based on the structure of the database. But you won't have to run them. You possibly will just create a scenario by yourself on your own database, and then you create similar scenario. I mean, you create similar scenario and you run them. So, but pretty much somebody could just be working, and all you do is just to be calling or writing already stored procedure. So do we understand? And tonight should not be for much English. Anybody? I can't see anyone.
Yeah, I think we should also clarify that the function, the code doesn't have to be on the same sheet where we have the script written already.
Yes, I think I demonstrated that
Yes,
earlier
that
when I copied it to a blank space.
okay, good. Can you open maybe
Oh, I
another
just
page so that people will remember?
yeah, yeah. I just hope my screen is still being shared, right?
Yes, yes.
So, when we did this first one, and I copied it to this point, and I was trying to compare the three of them, and we have the same result. So we have our base here, we stored it here, and we also called it on the same page, by the way. And then we'll come to an empty page to call it. So you can call it anywhere. So I can take this now and go call it at the end And it doesn't matter that I'm calling it immediately. You can call it anytime. So I'm calling it here now. I get the same. So also I want to take down this. I want to close this workbench and launch it again. So for you to know that it doesn't even have to do with one instance. So you can always come back. So I'm launching again. All right. So I've launched it again, and then I'm creating a new sheet, and then I say paste because I've copied it before, and then I launch. So I don't have to store again because I have stored and I have stored. And if you see me the other time, I was trying to change some, um, I was trying to rename just by removing some alphabet because I've run it before. That's the store. So since I've stored before, I can't store with this name again. I can't store with this name again because this name had taken its full place. Yeah, it has taken its own place in the database. All right, thank you for pointing that out. And yeah, you can run it anywhere. So now, so long you are working on that database where it is stored, you're good to go. Did anyone wants to make me feel good by saying I understand and it's just a child's play that we possibly don't have to explain this, that it is given that we all know this.
Yes, for me, I understand. I just see it as creating views and CTE and then calling them. I think is about the same concept. It's just to know the formatting to use and the codes. I've been trying to run one myself, but I'm still on it as the class is going on.
Okay, thank you. And just like you try to draw the similarity between this and views and city, so um, it's I mean, one can from known to unknown, so you can just try to draw a line between them. But when you create views, you're just actually doing a nested um, query. So, but in this, you have stored, and all you need is just a one line to call it. So, um, so it is. I can regard views and cities as function of a function. So you have a function and you have a function in it. But in this case, you have a divine function. You are just calling it. And some of us who have background in mathematics, we know that by the time you solve problem to a point where you have declared A is equal to some, maybe you got a solution at some point and you say let this equals to A. So when you solve to a point later in the expression, I mean while, while solving the problem, you will just get to a point you say recall that A equals to this, and then you bring it and then you use it. So I mean those are function within a function, but when you just say when you're calling this, you're just calling in a line item to solve a problem. So it will just be like a magic. People that does not know the working of what you're calling will just be wow, just one line, and you have a report. They don't know that the stress has actually been done previously. Please, anybody, do you have any question about this?
So can I see the code you ran the other time? Uh,
Is my screen not being shared?
yeah, it is, but not this when you're calling the code. I mean the one that carried the procedure you stored.
Okay. All right. I think this is for the first question. Let me move over to that. And I think I'm happy today that I didn't remove everything that was run from the beginning of this class because it was easy to put this together what we have done before. No, okay, this is where it was stored.
Sir, in this code, the right up there are they necessary like where you wrote delimiter double slash delimiter double slash?
They're very important because
Oh,
remember, Um, yeah, it's very important. Look at the syntax I gave. Why am I not sharing my entire screen? Sorry, let me share my entire screen. Okay, so all right, this presentation, right? Remember the syntax. Yeah, remember the syntax here, delimiter, dollars, double dollar sign. So you can use double dollar sign, but I prefer the forward. And if that works in MySQL workbench, but I do know that the double forward slash works in SQL. I mean MySQL rather. All right, so look at this. This is the syntax. So now, so this is the syntax where you have this um, delimiter um, at the top and at the end. So remember the same delimiter, the same symbol you put here when you declare it at this point is what you use in front of your hand. And then, you know, the begin and end, the SQL multiple statements will be written between the begin and end. And so pay attention to this um, double dash is just telling you it should be there should be an indentation, so that you have to indent your statement between and then um, begin and end. All right. Okay. And so we can also have input and output parameters or names, and I think I should show how that is done. I think I have an example of that. All right, so let me go over to my workbench. Um, okay, so I think I have an example where I have that in place. Okay, so this is a typical example where we have this in place. Okay, so if now I need to, I think I've run this before. Let me just so that I don't like seeing error. Okay, so you know this is different from what we have in the previous example. In the previous example, we just have um, open close brackets. We have something like this. There was nothing in this bracket, so that means for this that we're declaring, there's no inputs and there's no outputs, right? So we don't have any input parameter, we don't have any output parameter. All we need is just we have a procedure name, and anytime we call this procedure name, please answer. But in this case, right, we have an input. So without an input being specified here, why we can't call. So if and we have already declared our input, we say input country name. So this in means that we want to put an input in it, right? So I will say the input is country name, and we declare what the the data type the 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 input should be. That's the country name, and we say it's voucher, and it should be of not more than 50 character. All right. So, and for this, which question is this? Which question is this in country? Okay, I think we have something like this in country. Let me look out for the question. Question that has to do with country. Yeah, country. Yeah, this should be the question. All right, where it says marketing analyst needs to identify which products have been ordered by customer from a specific country. All right. So now, so now, which product? Yeah. So this is product name by a customer in a specific country, right? So now we have, so we went on to have um, the customer name, the order number, the quantity order, the price each, and the order dates. I mean, just having some more details about it, right? Good. So we now get a point where um, we don't just want to put a specific country here, okay? We don't want to put a specific country here. We don't want to say um, where country is equals to um, USA. We don't want to put, so we don't want this to be limited. And that's one thing about a stored procedure. So it is good sometimes, except if what the query should function for is definitive. If it should, and in this case now it is dynamic. Instead of saying it should be for just um, USA in this, because if we had written USA here, anytime we're calling this code, it will be USA, and even there won't be a need for us to declare anything here. So we could as well just close this bracket, make this bracket an empty one, and just declare USA here. But now we want this to be dynamic such that any country can be called on it. So let me run this now. I believe it runs. Okay, not taking it to the base, right? So if I should run this, right, good, it runs. So, and I want to call it, right? So if I call it empty, right, it won't give me any output at the minimum. Yeah, if I run it empty, if it doesn't throw an error, it won't give me any output. But I think it should throw an error. But let's run it empty, right? Let's call it empty. So, so it threw an error and it's saying that incorrect number of arguments for procedure. So because we had already declared that it should have an input, right? And the input should be a country name of our choice that is contained in the database. And if it is not contained in the database, we can put it there and it will tell us no report. And then it should not be more than this. Now, let us respect what we have committed to and say USA, right? So now we have said USA and we're calling it again, right? So we have result for USA. All right. So where this is dynamic is because we can do this, we can use the same and we call for France, right? We can call France. Okay, if France is in the database, we should have report for France. Okay, right. I remember some of our engagement, we know that Austria is in this database. Austria or Australia, I'm not sure. I know, I think both of them. Okay, maybe not well spelled, but I do know that Australia is there. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I also do know that I think Germany is there. Okay, great. So, I mean, we can just continue this way. And that is now we have stored, what we did before was static. What we did before was static in the sense that it can just, because no input is not taking in any input. So, so it will just do what, because we have actually streamlined the statement that was written here. But this, we have made the statement dynamic by just us saying this should be equal to this, and we have actually provided for it to be inserted at the top. And there we go, we have this. So this and many more ways we can store our procedure. So we can make it static in the sense that no input will be taken in, and we can make it dynamic such that we'll be able to put in whatever input we want to have in there. I believe this has not made it complex. Are we still are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So apart from Peter, believe any other person? Yeah, because how about this? Is it something?
Well, I left the class some minutes ago, so but I think if I am able to see the video, I'll be able to follow. I'll be able to understand perfectly. Although I understand the little that I met now, so it's been okay anyway.
Okay, great.
Sir, if you have the limiter not in the right position, what does it mean?
I don't understand, please.
This
Maybe you should share
stored
your screen.
procedure. Okay, let me share my screen.
Let me stop sharing, but you should have just taken over. Or do you have access to share your screen? Are you able to?
I'm trying to see how to do that. Content.
You
Should
know
I
what you
share
could do?
windows or the screen?
You said? Okay, you are
Yes.
sharing already. All right.
Um, can you see my screen?
Okay, so yeah, it's the spelling of the delimiter for me first. It is MI.
What is should be RE?
It is DELMMI, not ME.
Oh, okay.
MITER.
Okay. Okay. Oh, the one down. Yeah. Mm,
Be sure
mm.
the last one is not indented.
So then the last one is still giving me this red line. Why?
No, you don't bother about it, even if it is giving you red line. So let there be space between it and the semicolon. It should not be together.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, it's showing me, okay, you have an error. Check syntax. But this code runs on its own.
Now be sure it runs on its own
Mm,
first.
it runs on its own. Missing. Is anything missing your end? And they're showing me missing syntax.
You know what you can do? At the end of the descending, put a semicolon, let's say. That DESC. Okay,
Okay.
so run it now. Okay, good.
I think it works.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
So this is one of the benefits of actually doing it in class. Some people will think, "Oh, I've gotten it." Yeah, it always look good when you hear people present. Yeah, I mean, and it's not because you are not sure. There is that feeling that, oh, I've gotten it, and there is now a feeling at the point where, okay, now implement. Then um, it will now be a case of, is it water that is inside the cup or the cup that is inside the water? So you now not be able to place it. Oh, I could remember I saw cup and water, but you might not be able to tell if it is what the cup that was inside the water or the water inside the cup. So because it happens, and it happens to me, it happens to everybody. So it's good to demonstrate whatsoever you learn, and that's one of the way things get reinforced. So reinforced learning is achieved when you actually try it out. So well done. Thank you for demonstrating that. Another person wants to demonstrate. Oh, Oguntoke. Sorry, not Okun. Oguntoke.
It's okay. Sorry, can I share my screen?
Perfect. Well, do you have someone close to you? Why is it echoing? You have your friend close by? Okay, you have started sharing. Now I can see your screen. Yeah, well done. Yeah, okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you have
Um,
echoes.
my question is this. I would like to know, so after running this procedure, is there a way you can update it? Let's say you don't want this particular procedure again, or you just want to tweak it somehow. Can can you update it, or it just has to stay like that after story?
Okay, so to update, now that's where the versioning comes in. So you want to actually change it entirely to put a new version of it. So you can just put version 1 in front of this, tweak it, and then run it and save. And so you'll be calling the version 1.
Something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Something
Thank
like
you.
what? I didn't hear anything and I didn't say anything. So let me not say. I just
Oh,
said yes.
sorry. So I'm not sure if you can. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we
Hello.
can see your
Yes.
screen.
Okay, thank you. So let's say I'm tweaking this to be and I'm just changing the name to be version 1, as you said. What's going on? Version 1, then I can save this, run it, then let me just run it this way. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
And another way, okay, so another way you can go about it is this, right? So you can drop the existing one. So that's another way. If you don't want to keep the version, maybe you don't just want to be using up your, I mean, you don't just want to start using up your space, right? So you can drop the previous one, right? So, and the query to drop, if I still recall, is just to drop procedure if exist. So let's demonstrate it from your screen. So you take the lead. So copy what you have named this procedure. Copy it. Let's do it on the same page. Just maybe below Yeah. So if your system blow, so I am not responsible. Let me do caveats at the beginning. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, so just say drop procedure, drop space procedure. So the keyword here is just the drop procedure. And so, yeah.
Can I run this?
No, don't run up.
Okay.
Okay, so between that, before you put the procedure name, so
Okay.
put a conditional statement there if exists. So because you just want to say in case it doesn't exist so that it won't come with an error. Yeah, between the procedure and the patient. So put if exists there. So you should space them as well. If exists. Yeah.
Okay.
So then copy this, select this and run it alone. Let's see what it brings out for you. So he's saying what?
You have an error in syntax. Check the manual to see the right use near bracket closed one, something like that. This.
Okay, remove the bracket close first. Remove that bracket.
Okay.
Those two bracket and run. Let's see.
Oh,
What happened?
it worked. Let me see if I
Okay,
can.
so and call it now. Yeah.
Oh, nothing.
Okay, great. So you've dropped it. You don't just want to be accumulating versions. That's another way. But if you don't mind version, and so you can just use version. And permit version is more like you're creating another one. So, but maybe you don't just want to create another one. You can drop it and then um, create a new one. So maybe you still want to retain that name so that you don't want to confuse people. Like we're doing this to secure our database in the first place, and we don't want people to be confused. Yeah, but the version issue could also work. All right, you see what participation can do when we engage. Yeah, all right. So who else want to go? Wants to try? At least who is this? Lucky has taught us another thing tonight. All right, if we just require, then I'm good. So like I said, I am happy. So I've always been here with you guys, and the journey has been very good. And I'm happy I won't have to be doing this um, every Wednesday again. Not because it's burdensome, but because I want to release you guys to go and explore the possibilities that exist ahead. Sometimes if you remain a student, you think you are still learning. So it is now for you to become who you really are, because a lot of you are made of more and you sometimes don't know it. And that's the imposter syndrome that every one of us have, including myself. We're just trying to get out of it every day. So, onye, okay, maybe um, I just want to wish you the best. And I think someone reached out to me some weeks ago, and I told the person, I'm sorry, I'm very busy. Sorry, no, I'm not trying to push you off. I don't just want to commit to something that I might not be able to follow through. But let that person not hold back, because the truth of the matter is I can't recall the person's name, and I'm sorry for that. least you can still
I'm
reach
the
out.
person,
Eh?
I'm the person.
I don't sincerely, I didn't know you. And that's just to say, I mean, can I my LinkedIn, it has always been, I mean, people have been what's it called? They've been tagging me. Now that Onye is asking for it, let me get it. So but it's good that we're here, and sincerely I love every one of you, and I only want to hear the best of you. And I pray there will be an avenue for us to meet physically so that you can see my small body. Yeah. And that's why my voice is always small, because I have a very small body. All right, so I think that is where I'll draw the curtain tonight.